they target like a foreigner, which whether has views what they call against the government or dangerous, or they're intellectuals, and they'll do whatever possible to, isolate them from the rest of the world, so we can't communicate. They might go to the neighbors and say, "Hey, TechRAM here. He's like a pedophile. Did you know that? We're going to show you some videos." And they'll show. They can use your image. They can put it on a video of something. I'm like, next thing you know, your wife divorces you. You know what I'm saying? And your parents, nobody in your family wants to communicate with you. And it's like, all that stuff is very, very dangerous. That's like what they call trials and tribulations. If you believe in God and Jesus, and you're truly doing the work, you're gonna have to suffer sometimes, and you have to be faithful.
Yeah.
People like you will come along and help out, or show other people in the world what's going on, and that's to prevent that.
You have multiple wife kasi.
Mm-hmm.
Then if you are faithful, maybe you're not there to your girlfriend.
Possibly, but a lot of the things that that's
what I told you a while ago. You choose also to be like that.
Right, that's correct. And and that's part of the learning experience. You might choose whatever physical pleasures over family, things like that. And that's part of a learning experience. But part of the female too also needs to understand the man and the needs and things like that. In order to keep him.
If you love our God, you need to be careful to your body.
Yes. Yeah, I agree there.
So you're not in danger if you don't do bad things.
Right.
If you do bad things, your life will be in danger.
Right.
But if you choose to be right and love our God, you will be not be maybe
right.
You will not be there.
But there's like many different opinions on what's right and wrong for people. Good and evil. The definition is very, very broad. Some people say evil is like killing. That's it. You can steal, you can cheat. It's like and you can justify. I'm poor, nobody's helping me. I have to steal in order to survive, right? So it's just
not an option.
Yes, yeah. It's my duty to God to stay alive, and so if I have to steal to eat, God's going to forgive me for it. And so, and that becomes like free will and things like that. And so, from my experience, that's like the most sacred thing is the free will. It's like respecting the free will of fellow mankind. But if you're creating a situation for them where it's really not their decision, you're putting pressure on them somehow, and they have to either buy this product or they have to do this, and so they play that kind of game back and forth. It's like good versus evil. It's like I call it like plausible deniability. It's like there's always some situation. Well, isn't it possible that he really did have a choice? He just didn't want to leave his family. He could have walked to the next city and got a different type of water. I'm saying things like that.
Yeah.
You have to weigh your options. You have to decide. What are my options? Do I have enough money to take all my family to a different city and start again, or what? And they say the devil's like he considers they call it perpetual victim. They're like it's always like it wasn't his fault. He was like if God hadn't banished me, I wouldn't be in this position. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like they say it's like life has made a victim out of them. Like they're like they've been treated unfairly. Just like my situation. People say, "Wow, that's really terrible. What's happening?" It's like, but that's one of the challenges I face, and it's like, if you're doing something righteous, the more bad things that happen to you and you overcome them, it becomes like an honor, you're doing a service to God by, your perseverance, like your ability to keep, moving in the right direction, even though, like, everybody's talking bad about you, everybody's lying about you, and, you just keep a positive attitude, and, you still keep moving forward. There are days that, I might have a lot of people come and gift me whatever, food, money, and I'll go and I'll see somebody homeless and I'll just give it to them. And I was blessed to get this, and they need some blessings too. And, a lot of people, they just think that's crazy. And so the kind of separation between me and my family is like I built a business with my father, and after his death, I was in California at the time, and my brother, he went and changed the will and everything, and basically took all the money away that I should have inherited from my father. And so people are strange when they do something wrong. They don't want to like look you in the eyes, they don't want to face you, they're just like want you to go away. And then that makes things worse because and they start calling you crazy and stuff like this. And those are like kind of the bad rumors. But most of that stuff, it all revolves around money, and power and things like that. And I think money is like a very corruptive force. It's like very dangerous, because a lot of people, like, they really feel insecure and they feel they have to have a lot of money to survive, or to get things done that they need. And I just had like a different philosophy. It's like, hey, God's gonna take care of me, and like whatever. If I have something and somebody needs something, you give it to them. So, and a lot of people, they don't like that. It was very scary to them, because they don't trust God. They don't think that I'm without food, and I could walk around the corner and I could say, hey, out there, can you give me something to eat? Yeah, here's some rice and things. You know what I'm saying? They don't believe that people are good, and they will do that for you. And that's why they isolate themselves, and it becomes a cycle. It's like, the more things that they want, the nicer things they want. Now they're worried they can never go on vacation because they're worried somebody's going to come and steal their things, and that's why.
Where do you want to eat, Kuya Steven?
It's up to you. You decide. I eat anything. I eat Philippines food. I eat Jollibee, McDonald's. It's up to you. If you guys are on schedule, it's just something fast. If you're going to go to the drive-thru, so McDonald's is fine. Jollibee's fine. Ingersoll, whatever.
Okay. Are you nervous or worried about where we gonna go?
No, not at all.
Why?
Well, it's like one of those deals. It's like you either have faith in God or you don't. It's like,
maybe.
If I didn't, if I was.
I'm a massacre.
No, I know, and I've, and I went through that phase, and it's like, it's very troubling, because then you mistrust everybody. You never get in anybody's car, because you never know. They might take you out to the warehouse and shoot you. You don't know. And so, that's one of the things that I have faith that,
Maybe I'm a murderer, or
yes.
That one, Kuya August.
Yeah, it's possible. Everything's possible. But, it's kind of one of those things that.
What do you feel?
I would think that, God would give you that feeling or sense, like even before we started talking. I don't want to deal with you. And I would get up and walk away when you asked to do an interview. That would be like the end of it. But for some reason, some purpose, we have something to learn from each other and to move forward. And so that's why it's like, if it doesn't become an issue of trust or not trust for me, it's like, hey, this is kind of God's will, and I roll with it, and it could happen. And you come out here and you say, get out of the car. And like, I don't have any money, I don't have anything, and that's okay. I'll figure out a way to make it back. There's always somebody there that's nice and going to help you out. And it's just, you have to have faith.
Do you think, Kuya Steven, before Christmas we can fix your passport? We can have your passport back?
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, it all depends on the appointment schedule of the embassy.
We don't need to go there because I will set an appointment maybe on the
with a handler or something like that. Okay. Yeah, if you can do that, that's great. But not every place will allow handlers to come in. You have to come in person and do like the fingerprints, biometrics, things like that.
When we need to do that, when we need like that.
Right. Even they have schedules too. It's like sometimes it might take 2 days for them to get it. But I mean, yeah, there's really in all practicality, there's no reason that usually a normal person doesn't have the problems I have. It should be within a week. They should be able to get a replacement passport.
But we need to we need to go to hospital or clinic first.
Yeah, first thing. Right. But as far as the passport goes, you need to get somebody with a notary, and to download the proper form. Sometimes it takes an attorney for the affidavit of loss.
Yeah.
But usually the embassy, they ask that you show up because you need to do what's called biometrics, and verify that you're the person. It could be like a thumb scan, it could be a retinal scan, it could be like a hand scan. They're scared. The guy that's using my passport, he has family in the United States, but he has a problem because he owes like child support. He didn't pay his ex-wife.
Someone using your passport?
Yeah, that's why it was stolen. So that's why they're not letting me get it back, because if I get it back, they can't do things that they're doing, register whatever sex websites, pogos, stuff, and that requires an ID, that's accepted internationally. Now, if you're on the blacklist, you owe taxes, things like that, they're not going to give you an American bank. You're not going to be able to use an ATM card to register a website in a foreign country, etc. And so that's what I'm dealing with this guy. And so, I know he's responsible. I know he has family in the U.S., but the U.S. is very serious about child support. If you don't take care of your child, they put you in jail. If you didn't pay to your ex-wife, to support the child. And so, he owns a big amount of money, and they call back child support. So if he uses his passport, flies back to the U.S., there, wherever he lands, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, they take him right to jail. And he has to stay in jail until he pays all the money from the child support. I mean, everything. And then, they'll release him. So that's not an option for him. And, then he has a tax issue too, which is the same. If you owe taxes, he worked as a computer programmer, he said, but, all the money you get from these, companies, if you set up a website or whatever, it's in the U.S., taxable income, and they report it. See, that's the thing about the United States is the system is very connected. So people that pay taxes, they put it in your name that, they paid this salary to you to do work. Now you're obligated to pay your income tax because you're already on file as a client of theirs. And that becomes, it's not like here. It's a lot of the offices, they don't communicate,
How can he use your passport if space is not?
Well, see, and that's where, you know, things get very corruptible here. So now, so I mean, if you're at the level where you could get inside the U.S. Embassy here, you can actually have somebody change what they call the biometrics, like the thumb scan and everything, for me. You know, I mean, there's lots of options to do that. You know, sometimes people get in an accident, they get burned. You know, they can't scan their fingerprints anymore, and they have like exceptional rules, and they'll put that in there. It's like, you know, hey, his thumb scan doesn't work, but this is his blah blah blah. And so, you know, and that was his plan. Is like, you know, to use my passport and be able to go back, you know, see family or visit family, do whatever, to, you know, still use like, you know, like an ATM card in order to, you know, do illegal, you know, money transfers from country to country for, you know, the sex trade or whatever. And, you know, and he knew that I wasn't going to like go to the police and report him and stuff like that. And so that's the kind of situation that I'm in. It's like, you know, he knew I was friendly enough and I wasn't gonna like come back and like, but they also know that, you know, if I do get my passport back, and includes social security number, in order to clean things up, you know, I have to check my credit and see what's happened. But, you know, there's a lot of scammers, you know, especially, you know, if I have a good credit score, I mean, they'll go use that like to do some scam, you know, to get an investment to buy a hotel, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, they can say, look, you can see, look online, you can see his credit score is very good. He's like very good with money. And, you know, and they'll find like some loan and they'll give him like 25,000 US to buy like, you know, a hotel for millions. And then they have like this really clever way of like using small things in order to get bigger thing, in order to get a bigger thing, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's what, you know, the sex trade, everything else is, they can work these things up into like, you know, really, really big investment scams, you know, like, you know, investing in a multi-million-dollar, you know, hotel or building or things like that. You know, they know just the right amount to do. You know, they'll scam somebody for like 25,000 and they'll like come in and like we'll meet the banker and it's like, hey, hi, let me take you out. I'll, you know, introduce you to my friends, you know. And they'll rent like a very expensive, like a Lamborghini or, you know, Mercedes, $1 million car, and like, and, you know, we don't know. A foreigner comes in, he's got like, you know, he's like, you know, very important in his country or whatever, he's got a rich family, you know, and, you know, they get commissions off of, you know, doing these things for the bank, you know, accepting these applications. And so, you know, the problem is like when it's like, you know, just like the Bernie Madoff. I don't know if you've heard about that. The Bernie Madoff, a Ponzi scheme. It's kind of like a scam investor. So he would take the people's money, but he wouldn't invest it in stocks. But he would like print on the computer what looked like, hey, here's your stocks, and they're doing really good, you know. And he would convince them to, hey, keep it in here, you know, you're going to make more money, and then the banks are paying interest. And, you know, he built that relationship by lying to people, and it became like, you know, billions of dollars. You know, he was making billions, you know, and he had like a really, really nice, expensive apartment in Manhattan, which is, you know, very high property. And so that's...
When we die, we cannot bring that.
Yeah, you can't take it with us.
Yeah.
And so, you know, and like a strange thing happens, like, you know, he did all that, and then like his son killed himself. He committed suicide. He was embarrassed about what happened, and then his wife, you know, ended up leaving him. You know, and then he went to jail, and it's like a lot of these things, like, they don't realize that, you know, there's like a price to pay for this, you know, at the end. You're like, you might get away with it and be like, you know, living what we call like Wolf of Wall Street. I don't know if you've ever seen those movies. At some point, it's all going to fall. You know, everything's going to collapse because it's not built on like what we call a solid foundation. And that's part of the Jesus deal. Is like, you know, you build your temple, you know, on strong like foundation. Like the lowest part should be the strongest.
temptation.
You know, there's been like many tragic stories about, you know, people just like made a quick rise to the top and then like it all falls down.
Maybe someday the money there's no value.
Yeah.
Because
Yes. Yeah.
What I mean when God's when
the second coming, right?
yeah,
Right.
the
Yes.
end is near.
Uh-huh.
The money is no
Right.
value.
Revelations, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You choose what do you want.
Okay.
We have bulalo and sisig, bangus, fried itik,
Is everything like tortang tulong?
tortang talong. You want tortang talong?
Yeah, I like
what
the red
else, kuya?
That's not.
You
Up to you.
choose. What do you want? You choose.
Okay. Well, yeah, bulalo, beef bulalo.
Bulalo?
Yeah.
You want bulalo? Isa pong bulalo. Sa akin, bangus ako. What else, kuya?
That's it. If they have like, you know, tortang tulong or
Tortang talong.
sisig, either one.
Meron po kayong tortang talong?
Kulay sir, mga chop suey.
Chop suey.
Yes po.
You want vegetables like this?
Pinakbet.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Pinakbet.
Chop
Or-
suey sir.
Chop suey is good. I like chop suey.
Ito,
Yeah.
chop suey.
Chop suey is
Chop
very good,
suey.
yeah.
Ito sir, kunin po.
Chop suey na lang. You want like this? Kuya Steven?
No, thank you. I usually don't eat those, but I mean,
Okay.
you could eat them. That's fine.
Okay na po. Thank you. So let's go.
Thank
We can find our table na.